unrest in all 50 state capitals, leading. Another alert came personally to my telephone. Okay, they said, now I got chills, I got goosebumps. They said that we are, who the message was sent to, we are currently monitoring the potential for civil unrest in all 50 state capitals and D.C. leading up to the presidential inauguration on January the 20th. And they say, please stay vigilant. Your safety is our top main priority. If you are to work at home, and they will update you. That's just literally what came in on my phone at a place that I used to work at. Okay, I'm still on their system, and it's been 4 years ago. I still get their alerts, and it just now came in. If you're just, yeah, that's what came in. I looked at my phone and had one of those weird things because I never unsubscribed from the notification, but that, yeah. So they are monitoring the potential for civil unrest in all 50 state capitals and Washington, D.C. leading up into Inauguration Day, January the 20th is what they said, and they will update as needed. So that's my update for you all. I cannot show you that. I cannot show you that because I'm not going to get myself in trouble. Okay, it came at a place that I used to work at. Okay, I would not get on here and say that if it didn't. Yeah. And it came from the CEO of this place that I used to work at. So it's not a governmental place. It's a gigantic company. Big company. A Fortune 100 company. Okay? That's who it came from. A Fortune 100 company. Yeah. Yeah, it's really...
Sneak this and we don't see the competition. I drop off a ransom note that your heart is missing.
Pay us in full with the money, or she gon' get her fingers clipped off like Lil Sonny,
MREC TV.
Ben Credit Solutions, the one-stop shop for solving your credit problem.
Woman leaps from NYC building with child in her arms. Police at the scene where a woman reportedly jumped from a building with a child. A Brooklyn woman jumped from the roof of a 12-story Hell's Kitchen building on Sunday while clutching her 5-year-old daughter, killing them both, police and friends said. Oksana Pachin, 39, and the girl, Olivia Pachin, plunged from the building at 540W 53rd Street at about 1:40 p.m. and were rushed to St. Luke's Roosevelt Hospital, where they were pronounced dead, police and sources said. Everything was going great with her, a family friend said. I can't believe this. This is terrible. Police sources and building residents said the mother, a Prospect Heights resident, was visiting her friend in the building when she jumped. Oksana had asked the friend for her key card, claiming she wanted to show her daughter the rooftop view. Police sources said once on the roof, cameras captured the mother pacing around, before climbing over a safety gate, picking up her daughter and leaping off, sources said. It really shook me up that it happened, said a tenant who asked to be identified only as Brian. It's very, very disturbing. According to Oksana's social media profiles, she is a native of Ukraine and later studied accounting in New York law enforcement. Sources said the woman divorced her husband over the summer and had been living with her mother. She did not leave a suicide note. Sources said one tenant of the Hell's Kitchen building came out in tears Sunday and told reporters that the mother had been very distraught. The tenant did not provide further details. The City Administration for Children's Services said it was investigating but could not disclose details of any cases. Our top priority is protecting the safety and welfare of all children in New York City, an ACS spokesperson said. We are investigating this case with the NYPD. The tragedy comes 3 weeks after a Brooklyn woman jumped to her death from the towering vessel structure at Hudson Yards. The woman, Yachit Guri, 24.
And I gotta speak on this. That was, and I'm not prejudiced, that was a white woman who left her husband and obviously lost her mind and killed herself. Suicide. The Bible says, and I've been seeing this with our people, and it said to the women, leave your husband, no matter how you feel about him, if he ain't your type, no matter if you don't love him, it don't matter how you feel about him. Once you said I do, that's it. And because of that, that's why I said that if you leave your husband, your curse will be, you will thirst for him. And you will go through all types of pains, headaches, suffering. I know a whole lot of stories of women end up being homeless because they did shit like that. Now, the creators turned the curses on them too now. Now, that's crazy. Now, she couldn't handle the pressure. Usually, she would just end up thirsty. Her husband would beg her for him back, and he wouldn't want it back, and then she'd go through a whole lot of fucked up shit and learn a lesson the hard way, like our women do. But she couldn't handle the pressure, and we do know outside nations don't handle pressure as good as our women. So she ended up killing herself. These are the signs. This is a sign. It's not. It sucks that this happened. I'd rather she not had did that to herself. But this is a sign of the end times. Curses going on other people instead of us. And our people, do not be deceived. Do not be deceived. If you still doing stuff wrong or you do something wrong, the Creator will make the curse come to you because the Creator doesn't change. That goes to you men too.
Of Crown Heights, had detailed her struggles with anorexia and depression on her Instagram account, where she also left a farewell post that appeared days after her death. Additional reporting by Reuven Fenton.
Fenton Credit Solution, the one-stop shop for solving your credit problem.
Yo, get a plug and search. You know jokes about.
People serving Mr. J still to this day. They don't realize that it's wrong. Serving that dumb.
News for you now. President Trump has finally emerged, and he has a statement that he just made as he was on his way to Texas to review the border wall. Also, other big news, the state of emergency has been declared in Washington, D.C., and there are now 50 protests that are scheduled around the country as well as Washington, D.C. And the frightening truth is the FBI is sounding the alarm that these are armed protests. We've got the details. Before we go further, if this is your first time here and you like our reporting, go ahead and hit the red button down below to subscribe and then hit the notification bell when you do. And remember, you can always access Next News Network's ad-free, uncensored bonus content and exclusive interviews at nextnewsnetwork.com. Let's take a look at the Blaze TV. They have a report over there. Phil Shiver, he says the FBI is warning that armed protests were being planned in state capitals across the country in Washington, D.C. in advance of Inauguration Day. Now let me be absolutely crystal clear. I disavow such actions. And if you're planning one of these events or intend on going, you will not be helping at all. In fact, you will only be hurting this country further. And if you're playing right into the hands of the establishment, we'd love to have another reason to classify conservatives and Trump supporters as terrorists. Only be hurting this country further. And if you're playing right into the hands of the establishment, we'd love to have another reason to classify conservatives and Trump supporters as terrorists. Now, such actions. And if you're planning one of these events or intend on going, you will not be helping at all. In fact, you will only be hurting this country further. And you'll be playing right into the hands of the establishment. We'd love to have another reason to classify conservatives and Trump supporters as terrorists. Please, do not act out in this manner. It is going to be devastating for this country. This country needs peace. This country needs healing. The last thing this country needs right now is another uprising. Please, peace is what this country needs. Now, the president, earlier today, he emerged from the White House on his way to inspect the border wall, and he briefly spoke with reporters and commented about the new impeachment and declared he wants no violence. Watch.
As far as this is concerned, we want no violence, never violence. We want absolutely no violence. And on the impeachment, it's really a continuation of the greatest witch hunt in the history of politics. It's ridiculous. It's absolutely ridiculous. This impeachment is causing tremendous anger, and you're doing it, and it's really a terrible thing that they're doing. For Nancy Pelosi and Chuck Schumer to continue on this path, I think it's causing tremendous danger to our country, and it's causing tremendous anger. I want no violence. Thank you very much. Thank you, everyone.
Now, upon landing, the president met reporters on the tarmac and echoed that call to avoid violence.
And you have to always avoid violence. And we have tremendous support. We have support probably like nobody's ever seen before. Always have to avoid violence.
Well, there's no question the president understands what would happen if more violence erupted around the country, and has made it clear he wants none of it. And that is why he declared a state of emergency. In a Monday bulletin obtained by ABC News, the federal law enforcement agency stated that armed protests are being planned at all 50 state capitals from the 16th of January through at least the 20th of January, and at the U.S. Capitol from the 17th of January through the 20th. In a follow-up tweet, Katersky noted that the FBI also received information about an identified armed group that's intending to travel to Washington, D.C. on the 16th of January. News broke on Fox regarding the FBI alert. Let's watch.
Fox News has confirmed that the FBI is warning about plans for armed protests in all 50 state capitals before, during, and in the run-up to inauguration.
Federal law enforcement agencies have reportedly advised state police departments to be on high alert and bolster their security forces at government buildings to guard against potential attacks. The armed protests are expected to mimic the riot that took place in Washington, D.C. last Wednesday when the U.S. Capitol's security perimeter was breached. Yesterday, President Trump approved an emergency declaration in Washington, D.C. in order to get increased federal assistance ahead of the January 20th inauguration. Here's more.
U.S. President Donald Trump declares a state of emergency in Washington, D.C. to help augment the security in the Capitol ahead of Joe Biden's inauguration. The National Guard is already sending an additional 15,000 troops. This comes as the FBI warned there remains a threat of armed protests in all 50 states leading up to January 20th. For the mayor of Washington, D.C., they're already struggling with the pandemic, but now they also have to focus on containing threats of domestic terrorism.
This is necessary because the inauguration poses several unprecedented challenges that exceed the scope of our traditional planning processes. The COVID-19 pandemic, and of course, the domestic terror attack on the United States Capitol.
This all comes after it was announced that President-elect Joe Biden's theme for his inauguration will be America United. Comment below to see the next report for the Next News Network. I'm Gary Franchi. Thank you for watching that report. You know, it makes a lot of sense right now to do everything you can to keep your investments safe. Nobody knows what's going to happen in the next administration or what